Hey folks, everything new under the sun. I show you this slide often because it seems to provide a good indication of what we're going to see in succession, things coming to pass. And I believe the Bible itself even basically lists these things out as things that are going to happen in the last days. Economic collapse, famine, starvation, the love of many grow cold, and then this idea of government control and a mark of the beast system and an antichrist, a world system where no man can buy or sell save he that has the mark. You will not be able to participate in society or the economy or buy food or pay your mortgage if you don't accept this. And many will be killed in the last days because of the things that the Bible describes that are coming. And we are in the last days. You see this Tytler cycle in history there. We're in the very last days where that cycle really indeed is coming true. And we're coming full circle, and we're at the dependent stage, and we're moving in to bondage. And this is what the Antichrist is going to do. He's going to, and the world government is going to move us into a place where we're dependent on government money, resources, everything, because of all the laws that they're putting down to not let us basically live. And these are all end of days things that the Bible really does describe. And even when you read about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, it describes a lot of these things happening, a lot of these kind of pillars of Bible prophecy, if you will. So along that vein, let's take a look at this article. This is zerohedge.com. This is Yvonne von Greyer's An Autumn of epic asset collapses and higher inflation means poverty and social unrest. So again, I go to this one where let's go up to this slide here, and you see in the center there I have economic collapse, social collapse, civil unrest, antichrist, and then a peace deal. These are kind of the steps leading up to this. So what does he say is coming? Well, the economy and especially the political and economic situation today consists of a potpourri of lethal ingredients which will have dire consequences. Let's look at what the deadly potion consists of. So these are all the things that are conspiring together, that are happening in the last days. Just like birth pain, everything's coming together and getting worse and worse. Debts at levels that can never be repaid, sovereign, corporate, and private. Everybody is in debt up to their teeth. And so they're going to go to digital currency, of course, because then they can just inject money directly into your account and go negative interest rates to keep the party going. Epic global bubbles in stocks, bonds, and property. It's all about to collapse. So you look at that price of houses and such. It's huge right now. And it will collapse. Major geopolitical conflicts with no desire for peace. Major wars likely. So the war in Russia, Ukraine, that's dragging on and on and on. And no one has any interest in stopping that. In fact, they want to keep that going. That makes a lot of money for the war companies that are creating the bombs and the planes and all these things. As well, we have China, Taiwan, an ongoing situation. And it looks like China is gearing up to take Taiwan. Energy imbalances and shortages. Again, you look at that Russia-Ukraine issue, creating gas supply issues in Germany, just as one example. And there's huge shortage and imbalance of energy. And this winter coming is going to be incredible for them. Food shortages leading to major famine and civil unrest. There's already food shortages. You watch so many other prepping channels, and they're reporting on food shortages. More and more, there are things on the shelf you can't get anymore, and this is the start of it, where you start to see products taken off the shelves or not available anymore like they used to be, and you wonder, that's kind of odd. They're not producing this. I guess it wasn't popular. But then as we go along, more and more of those products and the variety is lost to the point where things are just disappearing from the shelves altogether. And that will lead to civil unrest as people catch on. When people catch on, and it's going to be like flipping a switch, people will catch on all of a sudden and realize, we are in a bad situation. Inflation leading to hyperinflation and global poverty. This has already happened in Sri Lanka and other countries. It happened in Zimbabwe years ago, and they're just going back to the gold standard now. Will they last? I did a video about that. Probably not, since world governments don't appreciate countries that go back onto the gold standard because it doesn't support the global economy the way they want to run it. Political and economic corruption in the U.S., Europe, and most countries. Yeah, we've gotten to a point where these democracies aren't really democracies anymore. They're ruled by a lot of rich people, power-hungry people, and it's not by the people, for the people anymore. And so we've got well beyond the point where there's any relation between the governments and the people of the countries. And so they're making decisions that they think is good, or in the name of climate change or something, whatever the thing is, whatever the woke idea is. But ultimately, it's bad news. No country will afford Social Security, medical, and pension payments. So we're getting to a point where countries can't afford pensions. What are all the old people, the elderly, the seniors, what are they all going to do if all of a sudden a country can't afford to make payments to them? They're going to be starving. There's going to be mass death and famine and starving and people on the street. And it's going to be incredible. And what are they going to do? Well, they're going to blame COVID, right? COVID is a problem. It caused the economic lockdowns. Well, no, it didn't. The governments chose to lock down. COVID obviously will be blamed, although there's a lot of evidence that it was man-made and could have been controlled with simple and cheap existing medicines, absolutely. And all lockdowns and restrictions have certainly had a bigger impact than the disease itself. Sweden, for example, virtually had no lockdowns or mask requirements and did not suffer more deaths than countries in total lockdown. Now, don't put that quote on Facebook. They'll mark that as fake news. Special interest groups like Big Pharma clearly had politicians in their hands. They had trillions of dollars to gain and nothing to lose, since they are immune against any prosecution. That's right. We waive the right to prosecute or to sue these companies in the name of public health because it helps the greater good. We can't sue them. Russians will be blamed for global economic problems, inflation, energy shortages, and decline in global trade. So Biden has come out and he has, of course, said that, the price of gas, well, that's the fault of the energy companies, BP, British Petroleum, or other, or even gas stations hiking the price up. And then ultimately, if you don't accept that, well, it's Putin's fault. It's all Putin's fault for the higher prices, right? So as we go down the path to the end times and the last days, and the very last minutes of the last days, the war drums will get louder. There will be wars and rumors of wars. And this is exactly what is coming down the pipe. So this article goes on. I'll put it in the description of the video. But anyways, suffice it to say, there's a lot of things happening and culminating this fall like no other time prior to. Last year, we thought it would be last year, but there hasn't been a time like this, and it's only worse. And if it doesn't happen this fall, I can only imagine what the list of problems in the world will be if it's if we're heading into next fall, 2023, and we still haven't seen the 7-year period yet. It's ramping up. We're basically in the ramp up, the lead up to 1929. But it's going to be far worse because there's going to be far more government control and far more world leaders and world organizations stepping into the picture to take control, to lead and guide and control the citizenry of the world, to the point where the Antichrist leader will come and say, you know what, if you don't take this mark, then you can't buy or sell. And we're walking right into what the Bible has detailed and described succinctly as the last days, with a lot of resolution to what will be happening in those last days. Go read Revelation 6 and know that before those things, it doesn't just all of a sudden happen, but all those things will be on the move and starting to happen well before the four horsemen actually ride, as the world sets itself up and the governments of the world set themselves up for the wrath of God, which is to come, and get themselves set up for this world leadership, which is going to implement a lot of these things during that first 3.5 years. So, folks, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.